Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Better Way of Life. Now, if you're like Marianne and you've had someone coming to your door this morning to try and sell you something, you're in good company because she's had someone coming to her door this morning to sell her something. And did you say that he was selling doors?
Or windows and doors.
Right. But clearly, if you opened the door to him, he must have known that you'd already got a door.
But I said, oh, we don't need any. So I was in the middle of a conversation, actually, with a friend. And, what happens, I was down here on the phone. The what's it called, thing goes off and says someone's at the door. So the dog starts barking. So I go up and answer the door. And then I thought, oh. And then I felt bad. And he was very good. And he was very good. And I sort of, I just said, look, I'm not really in the, I've got other things to spend my money on that. So anyway, he then said about energy saving and all this lot. And then somehow I've managed to get it so that they're coming to measure the door tomorrow.
What? He sold you that much that he managed to come in to measure the door tomorrow? That's
well, no, what they do is they'll just measure it and then leave a quote that's available for a year. Okay. And actually, no, they're a local company and they weren't rude. They were nice. You know, at the end of the day, the door has dropped because we've got two kids that, and probably me at times, that slams the door. There's lots of traffic. Goes in there.
Do you know what you should do? You should get the quote, and once you got the quote, you should use it against your children, and you should say.
Well, when I was speaking to a friend of mine last night, that we were talking about traveling, and they said they never travel anywhere that's not, they don't go by economy. And I didn't go to say anything because I know this person, you know the person. And I didn't say anything because it's none of my business. To which the person said, I haven't got kids. And I said, exactly. You haven't got kids. And I said, I've got two kids that I take away that don't pay.
Yeah.
So you might as well pay to not go economy because
I'd be using that door quote, and I'd be saying to the kids, "You owe me for a new door." Anyway, we've got a guest here this morning, or it might not be this morning when you're listening to this, but it is morning. No, it's not. It's afternoon. God, it's completely. It feels like morning when this is because it's morning when this is going out. We've got a guest coming in now, Tracy, who loves pink, but that's not the only thing we got her on for, but she does love pink, so that's great.
I should have worn pink.
Here comes Tracy and her pink. Tracy
Hello,
loves
everyone.
pink. Apparently,
I have a pink, Marianne. I see pink cushion or pillows behind you.
I do. Normally,
I've got a bit of pink there. There's a bit of pink.
I've told everybody they've got to wear pink to my funeral. Not that I'm hoping on having one soon, but they do.
This is actually this is quite interesting, Tracy. This is you might have recognised like the sort of inspiration behind this design. All right, because there, look at that. It's kind of like a
octopus.
An octopus.
Yeah. And record. Is that a record?
Yeah, records and an octopus. There we are. Isn't that cool?
Some kind of band.
It's a record label, but it's lovely, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Is those vinyl thing?
Vinyl or CDs? It could be vinyl or CDs.
Thank you. Classy when black and pink mixed together, but I really like the gray and pink together because black is very overpowering the pink. Honestly, I haven't been wearing anything pink except one time my father bought me one jacket and I hate it.
You said to me earlier though that today when we're recording, which is Tuesday the 19th of August, that pink has a relevance to today. Is that right?
No. Right, because all of you and including me, we all have some pink in our profile. It just happens that way.
Ah, fantastic! I do love the color pink.
I used to hate it when I was younger, and then I embraced it, and now. I talked about my cardigan that I lost that was pink, which I haven't found, and I just don't talk about it. But I had to go and try and find a new one.
Look at that.
See, it's a different pink, isn't it? That's nice. That is very. I wonder if there are a lot more to produce.
I don't think there are a lot more to produce these days. No, because I think and quite interestingly, I've been looking at this quite a lot lately. There was a over the last couple of years, there's been 2 new record pressing plants open in the UK, and the one in Scotland that opened, I'm going to say possibly 18 months ago or whatever. Now, it's everything that it does is 100% eco-friendly. It's like literally from the cardboard that they use, the vinyl that they use, everything is eco-friendly. And people are even looking at now making like vinyl out of things like seaweed.
Wow.
There you go. It's great, isn't it? Yeah, either recycled plastics, so it's recycled material, or seaweed. You know, and we've got a massive. I don't know whether anyone saw this on the news a little while back, but we have now got a massive seaweed farm off one of the coasts of Britain, which is brilliant. And they are making seaweed, and they're turning that seaweed into kind of a alternative to plastic.
I like eating it.
Is that edible?
Some seaweed is edible. I don't think this seaweed is edible because it's kind of more
Manufactured.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's manufactured by the sea, but it's but it's more viscous.
Oh, you mean not the crispy, not the
not the crispy. So,
like,
but here's the thing, though. This is always a disappointment. We all know this as well. Is that the majority of seaweed that's on the menu at Chinese restaurants isn't seaweed? You know that?
It's lucky I don't go to Chinese restaurants very often, though. Well,
a lot of it is cabbage.
Really? No, it's not.
It is. It's it's cabbage, and it's deep fried cabbage.
That's false advertising, then.
There you go. Yeah, apparently.
Well,
so we can put our own seaweed, right? Oh. Let them cook our own seaweed.
Graham, don't start being an influencer, because, well, actually, you should be an influencer then, because then you can say things and then everybody will believe you.
Oh,
Isn't that how it works now?
I think it's the best way, isn't it? Tracy, tell us a little bit about what you do.
What I do?
Yeah, tell us about what you do.
On LinkedIn for fun at the beginning, because I came on as a copywriter. What I do just basically text-based, reaching out to my audience, and my audience are actually elsewhere, because I serve large and medium corporations. They are very silent on social media because they are very careful about what they say, right? They only have PR people here, and they have this articles, essays, whatever, the publications like scrutinized by the corporate lawyers, attorneys, our legal teams. And I can only bring up what I have on my own. I'm not obligated to do anything for anybody else. But then later on, I found out, hey, this is a really good platform for professionals really to connect, right? Share things outside work, maybe a little bit about their own work. If they run a business that they are the boss, they can decide what to say, what not to say. And lately, since start from June, I think I'm fully utilize the platform to advocate for small, medium businesses who wants to come up and voice out their needs themselves, advocate for their own businesses, services, and has been pretty well received so far. I'm working on this direction. Don't know how long it's going to take me and how far it's going to take me, but I'm having fun, and I'm really feel accomplished that I can really help people with my ability, or you call this influence. I guess really an influencer can only be an influencer when other people listen. Otherwise, you just a noise.
Oh, love that.
Right? Thank you, guys.
And there's plenty of noise makers out there. Right. Well, I'd say controversially, I'll say a couple of things. One is an influencer really can only be an influencer, yes, if people listen. But also, in my mind, an influencer can only really be an influencer. And I know this doesn't necessarily ring true, but can only be an influencer if they're intelligent enough to be. I'm going to put that out there, right? Because there are a few people that are noise makers, maybe influencers out there that perhaps shouldn't be, right?
But there are also bad influence. If you can model what you want people to do, you can start to model the things you don't want people to do, right? Like, I'm setting this bad example, don't do what I do.
I think I've had this conversation, but it sort of all comes round to a lot of the stuff I've been talking about. I posted the other day that I just feel exhausted the way that the world is like now. The modern world just makes me feel just exhausted. I think people misunderstood to a degree what I was actually trying to say. Yes, I feel exhausted because my son had said to me, "What's wrong?" And I just said, "I feel tired with life. Life is lifing me a bit much." But actually, my point was that I think got missed was it's just the whole attitude of society and life now. This quick, fast, throwaway, not bothered about anybody's. Not. I'm not saying everybody's like this, but that everybody's so busy. Like my birthday was at the weekend, and it's in August. People are generally busy, and if they're not, they think they might be, so they don't commit. And it's always been throughout my life. I've had that. And so you get to the point you think, I don't even actually want to organise to do anything because everybody'd be too busy. At Christmas, let's catch up. Oh, no, I'm too busy. Let's catch up then. Oh, no, I'm too busy. And I think for all that we're supposed to be so connected, it feels as if people are so very disconnected in terms of connecting with each other. And Graham, you know, I go and sit over at my neighbour's at some point in time, probably most days, and have a cup of tea with him and a chat, probably 3 cups of tea. And people say to me, "You're really lucky to have that time." And I said, "I'm not lucky. I find the time. I literally find the time. I find the time to go to Pilates, and I find the time to do that. Take myself out of my house, and I do that. We share all sorts of stories. He's 78. He's learned lots about neurodiversity, and he's like, I think I might be neurodivergent, and I'm like, oh yeah. It just feels as if we're all too busy being busy to and that's what I felt exhausted about with life. That even when you say to somebody, we're encouraged to say we're not happy or we've got problems, and most people just don't listen because they're like, I haven't got time. And so I told a friend yesterday how I felt, and they said, I can't really do anything. And I was driving along and I swore about somebody. We laughed and I said, but this is it. This is it. We're talking about nothing really. And I just don't feel like society does that enough now.
Well, everything's got to have a purpose. Everything's got to have a point.
I don't know. It feels like people are scared to ask people how they are because they might say, actually, I'm not feeling great. And people feel like they've got to fix. You can't fix. But sometimes just being present. And even like you were saying, Tracy, just being on LinkedIn, just liking someone's post. I've just put a silly one out there. It's not life-changing. It's not anything. It's 2 people laughing and dancing. And it just feels like we're all too busy being busy, trying to hustle, trying to make money, that we've forgotten how to talk to each other and even just be nice. Not everybody. There feels like in order to show that you're successful, you've got to be busy all the time. And I don't think it's
Does good. Any of that resonate with you, Tracy?
I agree on lots of things that you said, Marianne, and particularly I want to share with you someone told me something recently. She just I think she's now a little bit over 60, and she says something like, I know I'm going to live into my 100s, however I only have like 30-40 years to live. I really just want to do something that's truly meaningful. I think busy is good. That means you are active, but at the same time have to be productive, something that really bring the value to you, hopefully to others as well.
No, that's true. That's true. It is a very noisy world that we live in, and there's a lot. The thing is that you kind of have to be within that noise, otherwise you're not seen at all anyway. But it's trying to find the right way to cut through that noise, isn't it? And then if you do cut through the noise, it is actually then having something meaningful to say behind it. I think I like to think I confuse a lot of people. I do confuse a lot of people. I put out a post about that yesterday because some marketeer had a go at me on LinkedIn saying, you confuse the hell out of me. I don't get it. Your branding is awful. Nice. A great way to start to try and do business. And I said, well, what's there that you don't get? And they went, oh, I'd need to unpack it with you and whatever. I was thinking, you don't even know where to start trying to unpack this. And I think what they struggle with is I don't just do one thing and show one thing to people across all platforms and whatever. And do you know what? I'm never going to do that because...
But it's your prerogative. Surely it's your prerogative to do...
Well, I just, my view is, and the post that I put out was that, you know, there's too many people trying to push tick box everything. We'll go back down to training and stuff again in a minute, but there's too many people trying to push tick box everything in the world at the moment, right? And including tick box marketing, where basically it's like, these are the rules that you must follow in order to achieve this, right? But if that was it, if everybody did exactly that, right? And everybody did do that, gosh, how boring the world would look, right? I love it when I see someone marketing something in a very different way. I love it if someone, I mean, let's go back to your guy at the door, right? Yeah. There could be a way of going and selling double glazing and whatever at a door. And you could say to every single, in fact, I know this used to happen. They used to write a manual, or a certain company used to write a manual telling everybody that was a double glazing salesman how to sell, and everybody must follow the manual. But actually, if somebody comes at it with a little bit more of themselves, they'll probably get a little bit further.
That's exactly what he did. I mean, I was on the phone at the time, and he came at it with obviously what he was selling bit, and then said, you know, we're in the area, but whether they were or not, who knows, you know. But they said, could we do you a quote? We just need to measure up for it, and then we can just put the price on the door or whatever. And I was like, like, do whatever you want, kind of thing, you know. Don't burgle my house, but do whatever you want, you know. And then he was saying, my boss is going to ring in a bit just to make sure, like, we do these, just to make sure I'm doing my job right and I'm polite. He said, you can lie if you want to. And he used humour. And he obviously knew that he could use humour with me. I joked and said, excuse my, and he said, I like your jumper. I said, not actually mine. And that's when I said, oh, it's my son's. And he said, oh, I thought it was a female's because it was like hooked up. And I said, no, it's because I haven't bothered putting it on properly. And we had a bit of a laugh together. And I thought, you know what, I'll give him a chance. You know, it's not hurting anybody. And I know I've got my own business. And if people don't give you a chance, then, and actually he wasn't slimy, he wasn't rude, he wasn't anything like that. But it does feel like a lot of the stuff that you see, interestingly, a lot of the stuff you see on LinkedIn is, I don't like it when someone barks at me about what I should and shouldn't do in these like lines they do. You know, those lines. And the one they start off with, you don't want to hear this, but, or I don't know who needs to hear this today. And I'm like, not me. I'm not going to read it. But they start off with that. Bores me. Like, literally, it's, you know what I mean? Like, that's boring. Who even needs that? It doesn't feel like it shows that personality. And yet, I put a post the other day about emojis, I think it was, or something like that, and somebody in my comments said it wasn't about emojis, it was about I fell in love with whoever and she this, whatever it was. And this person said, I was foolish to post that. This is a foolish post. And I said, well, 500 plus other people don't actually agree with you, so I'll get on with my day and keep the post on there.
I want to get Tracy's opinion on this while she's here, because this is quite interesting.
I like both of your styles. You all ask open-ended questions, right? You inspire discussions soliciting an idea. I like it. I don't do it because I know it's very risky. Because when you ask open-ended question, you don't know what kind of arena you get yourself into.
That's the interesting thing, is that Graham knows, you know, and I'm sure Graham.
It's also interesting but challenging at the same time.
No, I search long and hard, and and actually Graham and I had this conversation. I don't post anything where it could be that it would bring out stuff that's quite emotive, because I don't have the energy for that, because I know that I'll get wound up in a conversation, and that's not what I do all that for. So I'm quite careful about it. Graham, you can, because you can. I don't, because I just know that I'll get wound up and get myself in trouble or something.
When I first started on LinkedIn, I was very on the fence about everything, completely on the fence about everything. The further I go in and the older I get, the less I care.
In my comments, I may, but not when it's my posts. In my posts, I want to make people think, laugh, like that stuff. Mine's about a bit of light-hearted stuff.
I want to try and keep as much balance as possible. But if I think somebody's really wrong, I might take it to them, but I'd certainly take it to them with love. That's the other thing I would say. There are people that get very vicious very quickly on LinkedIn, and I don't like that. I'd happily argue with someone, but I will argue and leave the door open.
Not slam it in their face.
No, not slam it in their face. And I really dislike this, where somebody really aggressively attacks you and then blocks you, and then and whatever. It's just ridiculous.
The thing is, with all of this as well, it's interesting, Tracy, you said that, and I've seen that you've like commented or seen things, and it's great, because I now feel like the people that say, oh, this hasn't got a place on here, I'm like, but that's my networking. I don't like, that is my networking. It's how I meet people. I don't go to things unless I'm invited to something. Because it's just not, I don't have the emotional energy just to keep going to stuff, to speak to people that I don't really want to speak to. And so it's been really good that there's some people that turn up frequently on the posts. There's ones that will make people laugh. They might make people, but the one that was very creative about I fell in love with, or whatever. There's some brilliant ones out there. But I said to someone, I said to Graham before, I don't comment on things necessarily for the poster. I often do it because they're often the big influencer people aren't even listening anyway a lot of the time. I do it for other people. And interestingly, I've just been offered the potential opportunity or partnership with somebody who's in America, who's got a lot of companies, are quite successful. And they contacted me and said, got to know me, and then said they had various propositions for me. And they said, I said, but why me? Like literally, why me? I'm just like little old me. They said, but why not? I said, well, I haven't really got an answer to that. But the why me bit was because actually he said, I've seen you. I like your personality, and I can see you. And I can see you know your stuff. You've got personality, and that's what I want to do business with. That's it. So I think you're right. People find you, I think.
Yeah, and people find you mainly, those deeper connections are mainly through text. Honestly, yes. They may come back to see your videos, audio events to double check who you are, 360. But the mainly connect is what you write. And what you write sometimes can be misinterpreted, interpreted by others, because you don't know what kind of situation that person in and what time that person get online. Could be just social hours. This is totally outside of professional world. This is like a social media, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok for that particular person. So if you get on the bad side of person, those judgmental things come out. And if that haven't really happened to me yet, but it happened to my audience, they start arguing with each other. And I like to reach out in private first to find out the reason. And there are people telling me, Tracy, you need to stop that person, remove that person. I said, I don't like to regulate anybody. This is not my platform. I'm not LinkedIn. I'm not the owner. I offer this platform offer this discussion. You come on and you will have your freedom to do anything you want as long as you go by the guidelines. And sometimes I even post a guideline from LinkedIn. Look, this is what they say. You don't want to get yourself into trouble. And they will say, oh, I'm sorry. I said, do you want to apologize to the other party? Said, no, I don't want to. That's okay. I did my part. And then the ball is in our court. You know, we just do whatever we can to help.
Why can't everybody be like that? Like I mean, people don't get on, and of course you don't have referees on there, unless Tracy, you're there. You sound like a really good referee, actually. But
I think she is actually.
It does seem to be that when people don't agree, like that, you know, it's like you've got to see it from the other person's point of view instead of like listening, which a lot of the time doesn't go on. But I do struggle nowadays with like being told you're not allowed to say that, and it's like, but like, how come? Like literally. And so what I tend to see a lot of is, particularly on certain people's posts, is that you'll get the same people commenting, and they're all going, "You're amazing, you're great, la 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 la," and I'm like, "Where's the actual conversation here?" Because it does make me feel quite skeptical about actually what's going on there. Because
I was going to ask Tracy, do you feel like, because I do feel like this exists, do you feel like there is kind of almost a hierarchy of comment on LinkedIn? In other words, it's a bit like when you were young and you went to a party and the popular kid would get everybody going up to them to have a conversation, and then you'd have your little group of friends in the corner who would have a conversation, and then maybe the popular kid would once in a while say hello to you, but that's about it. That's about all they'd give up to. And I do feel like sometimes on a platform like LinkedIn, you get certain people that kind of put themselves on a pedestal in terms of comments, or actually where they're going to put their energy. They probably argue that's just where I'm putting my energy. But it just feels like sometimes it's not fair. I feel like sometimes I can see people putting really decent comments on those people's posts, and them never really acknowledging that, and using it as an opportunity to build up their nest, but never really giving back to those people because those people are kind of beneath them. Do you see that at all?
I do. I would say there are hierarchies in everywhere. LinkedIn posts is definitely not an exception. And honestly, I suspect, because I'm not a big LinkedIn user per se by numbers, I really think they do have multiple assistants. Like they might be doing posts or videos or some other work for this particular person. Let's just say this person has millions of followers, and sometimes he or she may come in and do a couple emojis or reactions, and that's it. Do they really comment on anything? Probably not.
No.
It's interesting you say, because I literally just had a conversation with Melanie. Is it Costa? I always want to say La Costa. Yeah, Costa. Yeah. She put a post out yesterday saying about how length of posts, and she said that she'd taken advice from someone: don't put too much out. And she said, as somebody that's neurodivergent, she doesn't read a lot either. And she was asking people, and I said, to be quite honest, I would read more if it's something I'm interested in. But,
correct. I think that to be honest, that's the rule of thumb.
It still needs to be chunked up. If you're going to give me an essay, I'm just going to switch off or put it into AI and tell me what is said. But I said, when what I will see though is, I said, or you'll get the people that she said, oh, unless you're so and so, and then people fall over those posts. And I said, word here, Melanie, most people aren't even reading those posts. They literally will just be liking it and going, you're amazing. Or they just going along with everybody else anyway, or they might skim it.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I think this is all that's happening, constantly. And
I said this to you before. Yep, I've said this to you before. I've watched people do it. They will literally scroll through the posts of the people that they want to be seen to be connected to, and they will literally just press the button to go great post, great post, great post, because it's like, you know, those are the people I want to be seen with. You know, people need to stop being quite so shallow, but it's fine. It's a game. That's the way people play it. But I have a thought for a really interesting piece of content. I don't know what you two think about this, but I know Tracy's got to go in a minute. But just before you leave, this is an interesting piece of content I think might put out there at some time, which is to actually go round and put some comments on different influencers' posts, and then actually time to see how long it takes for them to get back.
Probably not.
Yeah, but it'd be quite interesting, and then actually like publish the times.
But it's people that are following.
I just think it'd be interesting.
It's people that are following these people are silly. Like, why? Why? I want to follow someone that's got something to say, who I like.
Well, the thing that makes me laugh more than anything is that it almost goes back to like a time in the past when our, you know, pop stars, rock stars, or whatever were mysterious creatures and you know, not approachable and whatever. It's funny that now what it is like, actually, if you look at a lot of musicians, they are the most approachable people, right? I've had conversations with multi-million dollar musicians who have sold platinum after platinum album, and they're approachable and you can talk to them. And yet there are influencers on LinkedIn who are actually this big in the world of things, who feel like they're unapproachable. It's that the balance has kind of shifted from there to there, right? Because these people realize in order for them to make their money, they need to be more approachable. These people almost feel like they need to be less approachable. Really, you know, I think the balance will swing back the other way at some point. Everything goes in circles, doesn't it?
100%. Everything goes in circles. That's right.
Tracy, you have to go. You have to leave.
I have to go. I just want to say thank you so much for having me, and have a great afternoon in the island. I know you guys are in a force heat wave, according to some connections told me. I hope you guys.
Not at the moment. It's gone.
Oh, really?
No,
okay,
it's gone at the moment. But but before you go, Tracy, I just want to say to everybody out there watching this, listening to this, or whatever as well, if you haven't connected with Tracy and you like what Tracy's saying, and you like the color pink, and you like her background, or just the way she wears her glasses on her top of her head, then please do connect with Tracy and say hello. Be kind, be nice, and that's all we can ask. But Tracy, thank you for coming in. It's been a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Same here.
Bye for now.
Bye.
That's lovely, isn't it? Like Tracy, she's very real.
She's always, yes, and turns up. There's quite a few. I say loyal, but that sounds like, when I say loyal, I don't mean like I've made them do it. People that seem to want to come back because they like, and I see them on yours, and I think it's just they like our way. I think they can see we're real. Obviously, we're real. We're real.
I think there's two kinds of people out there in the world. I think there are those that are like 100% playing their kind of mini fame game, etc. Yeah. And then there are those people that are, dare I say it, a little bit more intelligent. And I don't care whether people beat me up with a stick for that, but maybe just, you know, prepared to give other people a bit. And I was going to say, I commented earlier on a influencer's post, and I'm just going to bring this up because I thought this was interesting. So their argument was, I've got to find it again now. Bear with me, folks, while I find this. Notifications. No. But I commented on this post because it was one of these that was saying, again, it's either this way or that way, right? A bit like you were saying earlier, that you've either got to do it this way or you do it that way, and this way's right, this way's right, that way's wrong, etc. And I'm never keen on that. And whenever people put that sort of thing up, I always like to give a slightly
just a bit of a red flag to recall to you and I, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And they start off, this one may ruffle some feathers, but here's my take, right? And they say that the people posting the most get the least business, right?
So again, the
people that are posting the most get the least business on LinkedIn, but the people that are building relationships are getting the most business, right? And you have to be one or the other.
Well, that's not true, because
you're either a machine or a builder. Okay, right. That was their language. But I said you can do both. And I said, and actually, they can be very different things and the same thing, right? And you'll see where I'm taking this. I said, I build relationships on here, create time for people, but I also create for here because I need to create. It's an outpouring which needs to happen, right? But I also make content that builds relationships and isn't about me. So I said, most of it is actually not about me. So I said, the truth is, people's main problem is what and who they are making content about. That's the thing, right? And I will say I do gravitate more towards people whose content is outward as opposed to inward. People who put stuff out that bring other people into it and make other people part of it, as opposed to me.
Yeah, and I think you can make the story starting off. They bore me. Those stories just bore me, because I think, oh my God, and I love finding out about people, but I don't always. I know I'm going to get shot down for this, and I'm just going to take it on the chin. I don't constantly want to hear about other people's children being sick, snotty noses, and the school holidays. I've had enough. Well, actually, haven't I? I've had enough of the fact that school holidays affect the work you get in. So I've kind of abandoned the whole thing of even trying to get any work, and I've embraced it, and I've had some lovely time with my son, and I've posted the old thing. Actually, I don't know if I have. I think I did. I went to Disneyland, Paris, but I haven't really talked too much about it. But it's more that's what those people. Yeah, it's about them and about their 5 minutes or however many hours of fame. Whereas I think you and I probably are slightly different in that we might use something that's happened as a platform to be able to get other people talking about school holidays. There's my son. As a platform to get other people to talk about their thing or whatever it was. So you can come and say hello. He can say hello, can't he?
He can say hello, yeah.
Right.
No, you were meant to say hello. You only had one job to do. Your mum said, come and say hello, and you went, right. Now try it again. Try it again.
Oliver. Hello, everyone.
He
said subscribe to Ollie's Aviation on TikTok.
Yeah, everybody, let's do that. Well done, Ollie. He knows I'm joking.
Bless him. So no, I love reading people's stuff. It's just that some stuff, it's a bit. It just leaves me going, and I can't fully put my finger on it. And I know that I guess what happens is you get hundreds of people that are loving it, and I have to step away because I have to. But they tend to be the people that are the black and white people.
What is Ollie's Aviation?
It's
on TikTok.
All of his photographs.
Yeah, but what's his I don't know what you call it, handle, whatever. What's his username on the old TikTok, whatever.
I'll ask him now.
Yeah.
Wonders of technology and the wonders of my neighbour's dog barking. I've just asked him so he can say it on there. I find LinkedIn's a very, very funny place to be now, purely because there are so many people using it for different ways. And it was wonderful hearing Tracy saying that. I find I saw something actually, and I will post it. I think it's going to cause. Problem is, I think it might cause a lot of rows, but it was on one a different platform, but I've seen it actually on this one, and it was a picture of a man holding lots of bags with a lady behind him, and she's holding a child, I think so. And he's got his head down and he looks sad, and it says, like, on the bags it says pressure, emotional support, financial support, all this lot, and he's like that. And then loads of people came wading in, and actually the difference was, and I explained it, I think it was on Facebook, somebody I know, I tagged onto something a while ago. It was like on a menopause thing, and she said, oh God, you know, the comments were awful on this other post. And I said, you know, the thing is though, some of the stuff I see on Facebook is just I don't want to use the word unintelligent because that's not the word I want to use, but it's sort of, I don't know what word I want to use actually. Anyway, and yet on LinkedIn, what I find is that the people who are on a professional platform, because at the end of the day, Facebook isn't a professional platform. That's any random person putting anything on. The stuff on LinkedIn it's a professional platform, and so some of the stuff I see, some of the comments are particularly toxic and quite harmful actually, but they're disguising themselves, those people, as being something else. So this picture was on Facebook, and underneath there was all these comments literally having a go at men, like they're this, they're that, they're the other, blah 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 blah. And the interesting thing was, I literally just yesterday had a conversation with a friend of mine who had said, you know, they were struggling with stuff, and to have read that, this was somebody that's a dad that was feeling the pressure of stuff, and having lost my dad to suicide, who he'd lost his job. When I read that, it really hit home for me, to be quite honest, that these women, and it was not all women, were making these assumptions and horrible comments about all men. And I thought, my dad lost his job. We loved him and cared for him. And it actually, men don't often talk about those things that they're stressed about. And that some of the behaviors they do will be not the correct behavior, but actually what they're doing is they're masking the other stuff that's going on. Then what I then saw was the same picture swapped around, but it had the female holding the bags and a man behind with a phone in his hand. And then again, they were having a go about the man. And it felt really funny, really, because I see a lot of the time, I see stuff, and I was thinking about maybe that Tracy had used, because you could arguably use social media as a way to see what's going on in the world, can't you? But what it does show you is that if you don't look around, at lots of different content from lots of different people about the same thing, you're just going to get a very, very narrow view of, like, whatever it is, because it's easy, isn't it, to take something that's happened. So the whole Coldplay thing, it was easy to take a particular way of looking at that. And yet I told you about a lady who we're hoping to get on here, who actually came out and was very honest about something she'd done. And it was a lot more, she used that in a better way than other people used it to just rant and rave about people's bad behavior, which just felt a bit horrible to me. But actually what she did, she came back and then was talking about how the whole business, how it all been treated badly, and people had judged him, not knowing about the whole situation, because none of us know unless we're in it. You know, none of us know. So I do find that people that got quite a big following quite often use that. And I think it's quite dangerous in the world now, because I'm having to speak to my children about this, particularly Oliver. You might read this and somebody might say that, and I've heard them make comments before, and I said, just stop a minute. You need to think about what you're saying there. And some of it will be because they've heard something. And I said, you need to think about where that's coming from and how that might land with other people.
It's interesting when you were talking about the school holidays thing. And by the time this goes out, because we've got 2 weeks in the bag, it'll be near the end of the school holidays. And in the grand scheme of things, the school holidays goes very quickly. And, you know, of course, it's difficult when you work from home and you're a business owner and you're trying to juggle other stuff and whatever. But do you know what? I do think with some of the posts that I see, I do wonder whether some of these parents need to stop and think about their, you know, in the same way that people say you should think about your digital footprint, right? But I do think that some of these parents need to stop and think about maybe some of their footprint that they're putting out there, that in years to come, because this has probably not happened necessarily yet, but there will be, their kids will end up on LinkedIn and they may see their parents' content and whatever else as well. And they might look at it and go, were you ashamed of me then?
Yeah.
Right. Because some of the things that some of the people have said about their kids in the summer holidays on LinkedIn, quite frankly, quite disgusting. Right. I know it's hard. Right. But if you're using your
talk about that then, if that's what people say.
Yeah.
So,
you know, but
you can, to a certain degree, you get what I mean. At least if it's on Facebook, you can censor who sees it.
Yeah.
At least you can censor it. But when you've got it on LinkedIn, that literally is for anybody, bar anybody that's blocked you, but they wouldn't be looking anyway.
Yeah.
Everybody can see that. And so I, like, on Facebook, I would always, like, only my friends could see it anyway, but I would always check with my children, and I've never put pictures of them that would make them look silly or horrible or anything like that. But I would always check on Facebook anyway. And when it comes to a LinkedIn, again, I would always check with them if it's anything that I want to talk about them. And if there was a picture that I wanted to put on, I would always check.
If anyone's interested in planes or aviation, etc., please do go and follow Ollie's aviation thing. He'd be happy to talk to you about planes and whatever. But don't try and sell him double glazing or be inappropriate in any way, shape, or form, because his mum will be after you.
He might even do what, you know, what I will say, and I do speak about them in a positive light, because I just, you know, we could all have a little bit of a moan about them and stuff. The fact that we seem to get milk through milk, like we need to get like a cow or something. But I just love the little conversations we have. And Oliver and I went away to Disney, and I love it because we've had conversations that we wouldn't have had if his brother had been there and his dad had been there. It's just the two of us. Just, you know, we took the adventure to go away. And so, like, quite often though, my eldest used to be into cars, like really into them, like you know, autistic, obsessed about stuff. So yeah, we'd be sat down, and quite often I would get tested on cars. Like, I am interested, but I'm not massively. I'd get asked, if you could choose any car in the World Cup, what car would you choose? So I'm going, well, it depends what I want it for, really. Oh, don't be so difficult. What car would you want? And I'm like, well, you're talking to a mum that's going to go, well, am I going shopping in it, or, you know?
Yeah, and he just wants you to say, like, you know, a McLaren or, you know.
Yeah, we're talking about fun stuff. So I love it though, because he used to then test me, and literally he would show me pictures of headlights, and I had to say what brand of car it was. So now we have it with the plane.
And you're going red car, blue car.
Yeah, but he did teach me, because I said, look, if you're going to test me, you need to teach me on absolute teacher through and through. I'm like,
so you would know the difference between a Bugatti Raymond and
not now. Now I'm not in on that, because now we're on planes. So now I get tested on planes, and I watch, I think it is like Heathrow 365 or something or other, which is somebody that films all the time. Quite sadly, I do like that stuff. But I just think it's a great way. I see lots of parents taking their kids out for days out, and my children say, we don't want to be dragged out on days out. We like being at home. We like to, but you know what? More than anything, I see that they just love the presence of the parents. And quite often it will be me doing stuff that I wouldn't have thought that I wanted to do, but I do it. So I go to Heathrow Airport probably every few months. We go up to Heathrow and we plane spot. He stays for about an hour and a half and goes, can we go? And I'm for an hour and a half. But it's because he wants to see the A380, the one with the 4 engines. But I think there seems to be a lot of parents put a lot of pressure on themselves to feel like they need to tick certain boxes and to have amazing pictures. And like I said, Oliver and I knew that he wanted to go to Disney at some point. He wanted to go back to Paris. So I thought, well, his older brother doesn't want to go. His dad wasn't really that bothered. So I said, should we go? And we went on the Flixbus, and it was a great adventure. And there wasn't lots of money spent. We had conversations about what we would spend, what we wouldn't. And I feel sad that my friends say to me, you have such a wonderful relationship with your boys. They wouldn't have thought that yesterday if they heard the interaction between me and Samuel when he didn't do what I wanted him to. But we have conversations. Oliver said to me the other day, Mummy, what's wrong? You seem sad. And I said, life's just a bit much at the moment because there's just so much going on. And I'm honest with them. Not that they need to take the world's problems on their shoulders, but when I get overwhelmed, because I do sometimes, if there's mess or chaos or noise, I now will say to them, I'm going upstairs because I'm probably going to get upset. I might shout. So I'm just going to go upstairs out of everyone's way. Can you just leave me alone for 10 minutes? But what they're learning from that is that it's okay to do that. You can say to people, I'm struggling. And I think it's not, yes, we went to Disney, and it was funny because when we were in the queue for one of the rides, if anybody watching us, they might have judged us because I don't do queuing. Like, I don't. So we're in the queue, and I'm like, this queue's going to be like 40 minutes. So he had his earpods in and listened to Gavin and Stacey, and I was on LinkedIn because, quite frankly, I wanted to pull my eyes out because I don't queue. And I think if people stopped poking their nose into what other people are doing, because that's where I see a lot of judgment, particularly with neurodivergent people. And also actually ask your children, what do they want to do? Do you need this? Do you want that? Summer's on the drums right now. That will be winding his brother right up. And I say to him, you all live in the same house. Summer said the other day to me, can't you just make him go away? I said, he lives in this house. That's just the way it is. And I think people are just thinking that you've got to create this perfect life. And I know that I see you work at home the same as me. You know, your wife works out of the house, and life goes on, and they have to occupy themselves sometimes. And sometimes you go away. And
mine during the summer holidays have to occupy themselves far too much of the time. I'd love to spend more time with them, but it's just
but then potentially
it's just not feasible.
But then potentially, like, I know that I don't see Samuel a huge amount of time because he's in his bedroom. He's 17, he's doing music, but actually we have conversations he doesn't sleep too well, so sometimes he comes up at midnight and we might watch telly together. And we were watching Nighty Night, which is a very, very dark thing. And we were laughing about it. And that's time that I have without his brother.
Yeah.
His brother's
yes, you get time as well, Lottie.
I know, she's at the door. Just a minute, it's all right.
Sorry about this, folks, but Lottie was feeling left out there for a minute.
I think that, do you know what I learned more than anything is, and from times like feeling like I'm not doing life and parenting very well, and yet my children say we love you so much because of what you do for us, and how you juggle it all. My friends say you seem to do so well with your kids, and I'm over here feeling like I'm failing at everything. And actually, my counsellor, I do go to a counsellor every week. She said to me yesterday, try not to think about all the things that you're doing wrong, and try to think about all the successes you're having and how well you're doing. And that, and it's crazy because this is the stuff I say to other people, and I do know this, and that's why I think going to therapy helps, because you can just celebrate stuff, you can cry about stuff, you can have stuff validated, that it doesn't all have to be perfect for you to be doing okay. And actually sometimes okay is literally just, this holiday I haven't had any paid, I've had some bits of work but not training stuff, but that's okay because somebody else is doing what they're doing, and that's their okay.
Yeah,
your okay is your okay, and that's all okay. If it's not okay, let's help each other through it not being okay.
and it's to kind of end on today as well, I feel like that's one of the dangers sometimes of people talking about mindset, which is that it sometimes feels like it's a light on or light off situation, whereas I don't feel like it necessarily is a light on or light off. I feel it can be like, you know,
Well, it's
that actually just
continuum.
that there will be days in business where it's, and times in business where it's hard. There will be times where you celebrate, etc., etc. It's how you, and it's not that changes because you change your mind about it, because circumstances will make those things happen, right? But how you choose to either celebrate or commiserate in those times, and how you get through those times, that's the important thing.
Isn't that the mindset bit? Because like I changed my days and it confused me actually with my counsellor. So I went the other week and I was like, I cried because I was like, wow, I feel like I've moved mountains in how to deal with stuff. And some of this will be like me knowing how to manage myself and my emotions, and but not understanding other people, because that's one of my hardest things with that. And yet I went maybe 4 days later, the weekend had happened, I struggled with birthdays, lots of stuff happened, and I walked in, I burst into tears. But actually the mindset thing was that when I left, I was able to say, I can feel like this, because I feel like quite often people think a positive mindset is being happy all the time.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
And it's quite a toxic thing, because I don't want to be around somebody that doesn't let me say, this isn't feeling very great. You will let me say, you know, there's times that I will be really upset, but you know that you have to let me just have that, and I will go away for a bit and I'll come back and go, right, anyway, come on, let's get on.
Well, it's that winner mindset thing, which actually is quite narcissistic in a way. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm a winner, everybody else is a loser, I'm going to win. Yeah.
It's I think you've said it before about how like I know I see quite a lot of people that coach people with ADHD, and they're like, you've got to do this, 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 and this, and then it will work. And I'm like, but actually, have you thought about why? Or people that say you've got to do X, Y, and Z to have the perfect body or whatever else. But what happens if, they don't take excuses, there's no excuses. And I've said, but what happens if something in your life means that you cannot achieve that? Like, you want to, but there's lots of reasons why you can't. To me, that's the most damaging thing, because that person will be sitting there thinking, God, I'm failing because I'm not doing this one bit. And for me, coaching should actually be about sitting with that person, and you do it with me, and saying, okay, you want to get there, where there might be. What's going on in your life, and how can we sort of find the best way on our way there? Because
absolutely, we've got to finish today, folks. It's about an hour, and we've got to wrap things up, because otherwise we can't send this out to you. But do enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you're doing. I hope you enjoyed our guest today, Tracy, as well. Do connect with her on LinkedIn. Do check, if you're into aviation as well, do check out Ollie's little TikTok there, and go and make your own cheap budget movie now, like Edward. What do you call these? Peg hands. Edward Peg hands. There we are. We'll be back same time, same place next week. But until then, from Marianne and me, bye for now.